For months since the fiscal year began in October, the government has been operating on a series of temporary funding measures. And while that situation results in a lot of headlines about the federal workforce, there are also impacts on the Pentagon and defense industries. Recently, Congress put forward a 6-bill spending deal that would secure funding for a slate of agencies whose money is set to expire Friday, March 8th. The package includes an increase in mental health programs and homelessness prevention for the Department of Veterans Affairs. It also includes funds for military construction and family housing projects, support for infrastructure and deterrence initiatives in the Indo-Pacific Command Theater, and Arlington National Cemetery's Southern Expansion Construction Project. The stakes to get this done are high. While the Pentagon's funding won't expire for another 2 weeks, the Department of Defense and the military services have been running on funding fumes since October 1st, when fiscal 2024 began. No new money so far this year means no new contracts, a limited ability to hire critical staff, and time spent preparing for a shutdown only to be yanked back from the ledge at the last minute. 4 back-to-back continuing resolutions have kept government funded at last year's levels. And while stopgap measures have prevented a shutdown, defense leaders have said that's still no way to govern.
As you've heard, department leaders and others say continuing to operate under continuing resolutions is unsustainable and detrimental to our nation's national security interests. Notably, the absence of an appropriation bill for the fiscal year severely hampers the department's ability to plan effectively. We are already well into the fiscal year, now in our 5th month, and unfortunately find ourselves again under a 3rd continuing resolution. The fact is that this uncertainty undermines our military readiness and jeopardizes critical modernization efforts. The cumulative effect of spending years under CRs dating back to 2011 is deeply concerning. It amounts to nearly 5 years of constrained funding levels, impeding the DoD's capacity to adapt to evolving threats and innovate to maintain our competitive edge. Failure to pass a base budget for the DoD not only risks our national security, but also obstructs crucial investments in new technologies, equipment, and personnel training, which are essential for maintaining readiness and staying ahead in an increasingly complex global landscape.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin also addressed the issue in a hearing before Congress recently.
I know you understand this, but one of the best things that you can do right now to support them is to pass a full-year appropriation. And doing so will ensure that our troops get paid, that our civilian employees can stay on the job, and that we can continue to procure and field the very best capabilities to defend our country. We need the flexibility and stability that full-year appropriations provide.
Even if Congress passes its initial minibus, a shutdown for the Defense Department and others isn't yet off the table. In the event of a lapse in funding, service members may keep working without a paycheck until funding is restored. And they're not legally guaranteed back pay the way that their civilian counterparts are, but Congress in the past has fast-tracked laws making sure that they got paid before previous shutdowns. More than 400,000 Defense Department civilians would be at risk of furloughs. Military moves could be limited or delayed if they're not deemed essential to mission. The impacts on contractors and their workforces are not as clearly quantified, but anecdotally, they told us that a shutdown makes it difficult for them to plan long-term. And smaller businesses with less of a financial cushion may find themselves disproportionately affected the longer a shutdown goes on. And whereas federal employees are guaranteed back pay by law, contractors are not, even if they're forced to stop work. For now, how things will shake out on Capitol Hill is anyone's guess, and the clock doesn't stop. The president's budget request for fiscal year 2025 is expected to drop March 11th.